What's up, YouTube? It's that time again where I give you the update on my Diamond Unique progress and how it's going with the development team. I'm still working with Nick, and the negotiations have been going back and forth. And I wanted to give you the last few set of emails, catch you up in case you missed the stream. So GGG Design Nick says 3D art is always down the track, but I'll let the artist know. As for the era mentioned, the actual lore Path of Exile probably wouldn't allow it anyway. In fact, raid class history is most filled with a series of small apocalypses and terrible rulers. And then I said, hey Nick, it's been a while since we last spoke. Everything is good to go, I assume, in the art department. Can we discuss the finalized stats anytime soon? Let me know when you're available. Thanks again. He says, hi Dean, apologize for the delay. The development team is currently working hard on the deadlines for the upcoming expansion. There may be a delay in receiving further updates about your unique item. I'm very sorry for the hassle. I assure you Nick will contact you just as soon as he is available. Please let me know if I can assist you with anything in the meantime. Kind regards, Bex. He goes, hey Dean, while these numbers aren't 100% locked in, this is what we've been playing around with. It's really solid, and you can generate and maintain charges by being clever and swift. Keep in mind excuse me. Keep in mind that we may make some numerical tweaks. I'm not sure yet. Currently though, I think it's pretty close to where we want it. To give you some idea thinking behind its current numbers, its DPS is similar to Kongor's and Murohi. But rather than Kongor's resistances, Era gets block, which is frankly stronger. Instead of very strong hits can't be evaded mod, Era gets power charge generation and increases the charge cap. The local crit and attack speed make up for, and then some, the onslaught feature of Kongor's. Nick. So what exactly happened to about getting the staff to 26% block chance? Some of the implicit plus explicit. At the moment, a white Maelstrom staff has 18% block, passive block. We originally decided to move away from the Maelstrom due to the fact that Terran Shiver competed in its unique base. Now with the addition of Pledge of Hands, the original intended staff for its series, we're in the same predicament. I'd be keen on going back to the Maelstrom with plus 6% block equating to a bonus of 24% including the implicit. Is the chance to gain power charge a variance between 10 to 15? To be honest, I'm not too happy with the Judgment Staff only being brought up to par with the Maelstrom base. In fact, I'd be more keen with the slower attack speed from the Maelstrom as it provides less mana problems with a slower swinging consumption speed. We have Murohi at eye level 57 unique, which stands at 420 DPS high-end variance. We have Kongor's at 67 with about 420 DPS, but with a 100% chance to hit and burst haste on crit, but not increased damage. I feel 520 DPS would be appropriate on a 68 unique. We can bump this to 70. It is important to note that I'm willing to make this weapon drop as extremely rare and even map only. I don't want this to be a common unique. Rather a unique that you're extremely enthusiastic to find and build around for your endgame experience. If you're set on the block chance being 6%, I would like it to move to a Maelstrom base. Also, I would like the staff to have an eye level 70 requirement, as it should be a high-end item. I hope the rarity and level requirement will allow you to be more generous with the stat allocation. So far, as what you have listed, plus 6% block, 190 to 220 flat. The flat I'm okay with if it's on a Maelstrom base. Not sure what the variance should be here. I definitely like the idea of it being flat. It's much easier to read than just flat plus increased fizz. 16% attack speed, 12 to 16. Crit chance, 20 to 30. Plus 1 power charge, 10% power charge and melee knockback, 10 to 15%. As far as DPS, I would like to see a variance roll between 490 to 520 DPS. I have extensive testing with various rare staves, and overall I feel though running super fast staves with not much physical damage behind it can be really clunky on mana. I really want to be able to support it on mana with good gear. I don't know how much of a logistical problem it would be if we swap the bases. At this point, I just want block chance to definitely stand out versus a regular Maelstrom 18% block chance. I also like the idea of dumping a lot of divines to get the stars to align. This weapon should be something that you should aspire to get in dreams of getting a two-handed crit, and should require a lot of investment to make it really shine. Let me know what your thoughts are, Nick. I really want to reiterate that the two-handed stave meta is very lacking because of its insane rare property rolls and supply of staves. You really need to pray to the gods to get a staff worthy of going crit. This would be an interim weapon that would definitely enable some melee love. I hope you share my enthusiasm. Cheers. GGG Design Nick replies, I'm not sure if you factored in quality into your mass when looking at era. With the quality, the staff is upwards towards 490 DPS, not including the benefits of crit chance, block, or power charge generation. That's a substantial upgrade over a weapon that is one level lower. I probably should have mentioned that we base the DPS on a quality Marohi and Kongors. My bad. 10% chance to generate a power charge is not nearly as low as it sounds. Between sweep, melee splash, heavy strike, and leap slam, you can pretty easily sustain your charges between groups, even in an indoor map. Jump into 3 guys and do a few sweeps, and chances are you've generated a charge or 2. I agree 100% that this should be an interim staff for players looking to roll an amazing fizz staff. And making the staff's DPS higher and defenses much stronger actually runs contrary to the goal. On a weapon that's hard to roll, having something that has basically everything you want often makes obtaining something that is perfect feel not worthwhile. Frankly, it doesn't need any block chance to be viable with this current charge generation and DPS. Keep in mind that this staff is entering the same patch as a revamped passive tree. So while I know you're very knowledgeable about PoE, there's certain information that isn't public that the public isn't privy to that can affect how we balance items. Regarding rarity, we're looking at one of the rarest tiers for era. Hope this helps you understand where we're coming from, Nick. Excuse me. Can you elaborate on regarding rarity? We're already looking at one of the 2 rarest tiers of era. What are the 2 tiers? Map only, percent rarity? I kind of prefer that this weapon does not drop off of piety. I think that would be another reason to put it at eye level 70. And regarding the level 70 requirement or maelstrom base, do you strongly object to? Yeah, I definitely did calculate the DPS posted to be around 490 DPS. Wouldn't pushing it to eye level 70 allow you to push it further? In the current state of the game, I definitely feels like it needs the increased block chance. One other thing that may sound kind of minor but is important to me, can you ensure that the wielder grabs the staff at the rigid part, as in the drawing in 3D graphic? I think fighting with the staff in the middle with a middle grip looks really awful. I like the way the maelstrom base staves look when swinging them. Top heavy with a base grip. Let me know. Cheers, Hegemony. Rarity wise, we're looking at Combs or Pledge of Hands rarity, as in it won't drop often. I was planning on letting it only drop at 70 since it's significantly stronger than Kongors, but let it be equipable at 68. The damage is not a matter of its level so much as its role. It doesn't rely on other items to be awesome, nor does it significantly change the function of a skill. It's a strong weapon that is enabled by certain skills and builds. As a high-end player, you're used to seeing extremely strong weapons. That has a tendency to skew the way you view your uniques, especially weapons where the DPS is pretty easy to assess, and it's pretty important how viable your character is. It's important to basically put aside what you know about awesome rares, and since awesome rares should be significantly better. Currently, there's one unique with greater theoretical DPS, Oro Sacrifice. It has pretty hefty downsides and is mitigated by resists in a way that physical damage aren't. It also provides no defensive benefits whatsoever. That's probably the best actual comparison to the staff. Instead of ridiculous damage at the cost of your survivability, Arrow provides very strong damage, charge generation, and reasonable block. Regarding block chance, if we raise it, we'll have to lower the damage. We did a lot of testing with these numbers. High block, high damage, charge generation is simply too strong and would give you no reason to look for a better staff. A unique staff with a block chance that rivals that of shields with damage that outdoes all but Oros would probably cause players to throw bricks at me. I don't want bricks thrown at me. And remember, there's a revamped passive tree along the way with the side of the staff. I probably should have mentioned, and I quote him, I probably should have mentioned we base the DPS on quality Marohi and Kongors, my bad. Note, Kongor's mace is pretty much a paperweight in the current state of the game. There's not one single person that I have known in my entire PoE time that uses the actual weapon in the build. Maces are indeed much easier to find and utilize with very proximal and great physical damage nodes. They also don't have to compete with the spell modifications in order to roll well. In my experience from playing since end of closed beta, you can possibly find a 500 plus DPS stave, but it would most likely never see the light of getting a crit chance modifier, which essentially is the main reason for going critical strike. Every single stave build I've been running has never had a local critical chance modifier. So it's always been running a resolute technique. Multiple times a day, I'm constantly looking for 450 plus DPS staves with local crit chance. This is the primary reason these kinds of builds and branches of the skill tree get ignored. There's simply no reason to utilize them. The justification to roll a staff with the current crafting system would make you spend potentially thousands of exalts, including internals, to achieve efficiency in those particular portions of the tree. However, you become extremely cost inefficient, and all the currency should have just been thrown into a one-hander, i.e. dagger, sword, or wand, which is easier to roll, so that you could use the comforts of a shield and do extreme DPS. Without a strong two-hander, you're always going to be in the one-handed meta's shadow. The shield itself provides a niche and enables game-suppressing mechanics that a two-handed wielder would never have a chance to do, which is okay, but it needs to be compensated in its threat. Saphil's Frame increases your total resistances and can easily spell block cap you. Rise of the Phoenix increases your maximum fire resistance by 8%. Aegis Aurora restores your energy shield upon successful block. Lionized Remorse, insane armor for substantial physical mitigation. Wrath Pit, spell block, spell damage, lightning resist, life, lots of ES, great base block. Parandus Buckler, insane shield for its rarity and what it offers. This is your mirror-worthy stave, which is nowhere near the top DPS of an Era staff. This one is 752 DPS. It's got Tyrannical Hybrid, flaring, huge amount of attack speed, huge amount of crit chance, flat, and crit multiplier, and accuracy. Notice that the buyout is 1000 Eternals or 18 mirrors because of its rarity and fucking currency dump. 752 DPS with flat crit multi with great block chance and some accuracy. This is what you have to aspire to. Shields not only provide block chance locally, but they have many easy access efficient block nodes on the tree and have a niche mechanic that makes them even stronger, which is still a good design because shields represent tankiness. Blocking with staves in its current state of the game will never have an elemental barrier that a lot of other shields have to offer. This is definitely fine as a design and a different reason to play a two-handed build. While not having the additional tools to take down certain game mechanics, it should shine in other departments. I can understand your point with rare staves not being adequate enough to compete with the unique, which I don't feel falls under the pressure of the unique so much as it has to deal with the ability to roll one or be generated by the game. If the game continues to be this hard to roll a decent staff with local crit modifier, and these kinds of builds will continue to be ignored. Hardcore players and many others are going to need a good reason to toss aside a cushy shield and dive into a much scarier two-handed meta. If I had 2000 Eternal Exalts, it would be extremely foolish for me to roll a stave that would be far inferior to any dagger, wand, or sword build that can pump out greater DPS and hide behind the defenses of a shield. If you guys intended on increasing the probability that staves would roll physical base suffixes, it currently has plus fire damage, plus cold damage, plus lightning damage percentage, and reduce enemy stun threshold plus cast speed, additionally to all the other things that daggers and wands have to roll. Then I would completely agree with you in that regards. But like I've said, I've tried looking for a staff in 2 4-month leagues and found nothing worth anything. All resolute technique staves without crit chance. Finding a 490 plus DPS staff is not a problem in a 4-month league. Getting them with local crit chance is a whole other issue. A possible solution would increase the chance of local crit landing on staves so that they would actually appear, thus making Hegemony's era less OP. Regards. Aideen, I agree that shields offer defenses, bonuses, and niche utility that staves do not, but they reduce your damage potential, and I'm sure you're aware killing things quicker is often as effective, if not more, as having a lot of life, block, and resistances. In our current testing, build offers a great amount of both, with a lean towards offenses. If you want to swing toward defenses, we can look at doing that, but that would mean toning down the damage and probably shifting the focus away from crit, which I don't think either of us wants to do. Are staves hard to roll? Yes. So are wands and daggers, and it can be frustrating. Binos and piscators both provide a stepping stone and also attract a lot of ire from the player base for reducing the desire to craft better ones. This, I'd argue, fills the same role, but is stronger. It's something that can drop early in the league and provide a platform for really strong crit staff build if someone wants to play one. That mirror staff should be significantly stronger than Era, just like the best rare should be. Having the gap between it and Era shrinks further reduces the achievement of crafting something like that while simultaneously making crafting it less desirable. The difference between a mirror staff and Era is not as significant as a lot of our top uniques and other mirrored items. And I understand your concerns and frustrations regarding the staff meta and crafting. I can only say that 1.2.0 brings changes with new features that makes me firmly believe that Hegemony's era in its current state is very, very healthy. You'll have to trust me on this. I replied, okay, I have to ask you, when you tested Hegemony's era, did you test it in 1.2.0 platform or the current one? Could you discuss it with the team if we can compromise at a 500 DPS max? 490 is just a tease and it's almost there. Thanks. He says, hey Dean, we've tested it with the most recent internal build, which is still changing. For simplicity's sake, it's basically 1.2.0. I get where you're coming from with the DPS, but it sets a bad precedence if I change the balance number for cosmetic reasons. Plus, those few damage points can be hundreds of damage once gear, passives, and skills are factored in. Sorry, it feels good where it is. It'll blow stuff up and give you charges while doing so, Nick. Okay, I wasn't okay with the damage number pre 1.2.0. Knowing that you've tested it with the newer platform is more comforting. Again, I'm trying to avoid a project from becoming a paperweight. So what did you have in mind for variables in the roles of this weapon? And he has yet to reply. So that is the current state of the weapon and its current production. I hope you guys enjoyed this. I think this might be the final one. There's not much else to say other than the variances, but I'll keep you guys updated via stream and whatever. Thank you guys for tuning in, and feel free to subscribe and check out the stream.